Attacks a tall stand of neighborhood trees. Power is disrupted to homes, businesses, hospitals, traffic lights, emergency centers, and life support cases.
Unbelievable.
High-voltage power lines sag into a forested area on a hot day near Spokane, Washington. Houses are destroyed and lives devastated. Christmas tree cutters could have been killed the instant this tree and the power line above came together.
Not even hardly burning that tree.
Trees touching power lines have blacked out major cities throughout the West, putting millions of people in danger. A filbert tree right here in this orchard contributed to that outage. Many outages and electrically related accidents are preventable when you and the Bonneville Power Administration work together to keep trees and other plants away, far away from high-voltage power lines. BPA has been aggressive in managing vegetation, finding hazardous trees and brush, pruning and cutting along rights-of-way, the corridors where power lines run. But BPA operates more than 15,000 miles of high-voltage power lines in the Pacific Northwest. That's a lot of territory to cover. And while BPA controls most of the property directly under the power lines, tall trees and brush on private land all along these corridors can seriously threaten the lines. And that's where we need your help. BPA has developed a danger tree program. Information about that program is in these brochures. Now, the program offers inspections and maintenance to owners of property with potential hazards along the BPA power lines. But what's a danger tree? Well, those trees along this line are danger trees. Now, danger trees are really any tree or brush that grows dangerously close to a power line. They could be your tree, they could be your neighbor's tree, or they could be a tree on the right-of-way, but very close to your property. The point is that if the tree grows so large that it could come very close to or actually touch that power line, look out, because you and your neighbors could be in for a terrifying experience.
This one's catching on fire too. There goes the lines.
People in this neighborhood were without power for hours, confused and fearful for everything happening around them. But that wasn't the worst. The person who owns this house was away for the day. Imagine you and your family coming back to this.
This is unbelievable. I don't know what house to look at. I don't know, Tom.
Remember, the amount of current needed to light a 10-watt light bulb is more than enough to kill you. Electricity seeks a path to ground and doesn't care how it gets there. Metal, trees, or humans will all provide that path, as well as the ground you're standing on. Power lines are not insulated. They're bare. Stay clear of all trees that come in contact with lines, and never touch a line that's down. But direct contact isn't even necessary to make a short circuit, so keep your distance. That's life-saving advice. And don't stare at the arc from broken or downed power lines. It's like watching a welder without a mask. Your eyes can be severely burned.
Something's on, the bush is on fire in that front.
Often in an electrical outage, there's nothing the fire crews can do but watch and wait.
I don't see why they just can't cut the lines through here. Bucky, you gotta be still, honey. Please.
These guys don't want to mess with electricity. They ain't touching it. I don't blame them.
And when they can finally move, the lives of these courageous men and women are in serious jeopardy.
In this controlled test, we placed a large, dry, dead branch across the primary phase in neutral. No outage occurred. However, introducing the component of moisture through rain conditions or through the moisture content of green wood dramatically changes the scene. Here, a large, wet green limb is placed across two primary phases. Burning occurs on the contact spot, and because there is a good path to ground over a period of time, a carbon path is created. The water allows a current flow to begin. This low current creates heat and dries out a portion of the wood. Notice the water pouring out of both ends of the limb. The noise you hear is steam escaping, sometimes exploding the bark in the process. The current flow is maintained by the still wet portions of the wood. The now dried out portions begin to burn, changing the dry, non-conductive wood into semiconductive carbon. This carbon path is capable of carrying enough current to produce a fault.
It doesn't take much to ignite a raging fire when tree limbs and high-voltage power lines come together. But the damage they can cause is devastating. Rain can uproot trees, wind can blow them into power lines, ice storms can bring branches and power lines crashing down, and trees don't even need to be touching the lines to be dangerous. Just the smoke from a fire or heavy mist can cause an arc to ground. Lines can sag as much as 15 feet in hot weather or when heavily loaded. Electricity can arc or flash over from wires to nearby trees, starting wildfires and victimizing thousands of people. Once a fire gets going and the wind takes hold, flames can spread from roof to roof quicker than anyone can beat them back. A whole neighborhood burns to the ground in an instant. It's very expensive for the people who have to rebuild those homes, and the power companies that must repair and restore system equipment. BPA's mission is to provide reliable electrical service to our customers. We periodically inspect rights-of-way in our service area, notify property owners of potential problems, and send out experienced crews to remove vegetation and trees.
That tree falls
And I'll
towards
measure
us.
the trees as I come to them through the timbers. I'm
It is
coming
turning
to them.
47
Then I
and a
need-
half.
BPA has a legal right, as well as a responsibility, to control trees in these corridors, which are BPA rights-of-way. For trees outside the rights-of-way, if needed, we may negotiate agreements to remove the trees, or we can work out a tree maintenance agreement.
So what can you do to help? Call us if you notice trees or limbs growing too close to a power line, or if the trees are exhibiting signs of potential problems, such as burned tops.
Look for the signs found on most line towers. They identify which company owns the line. If you can't find a sign, call BPA or your local utility.
Now, BPA can't cut the trees or trim the brush under your local utility's power lines. But if it's our transmission line, we'll respond to your call promptly.
But don't try to cut down trees near power lines by yourself. Serious accidents can result, even to professionals, because tree falling is risky business. Fall a tree the wrong way, and you can make exactly the kind of electrical contact that you wanted to avoid. We prefer no trees at all to be planted on BPA power line rights-of-way. It would save us time and you, our customer, more money. But if you do plant on our power line rights-of-way, you can prevent potential problems by following these simple rules. Apply for a BPA tree agreement when planting trees or shrubs within our power line rights-of-way. Don't plant within 30 feet of towers, poles, or ground-based electrical structures. Limit trees and shrubs in these areas to those that grow no more than 10 feet tall. Choose trees that can withstand northwest storm conditions. Never plant a tree directly beneath a power line. Leave a clear 16-foot access route for BPA maintenance vehicles. These aren't just good ideas. They're OSHA and National Electrical Safety Code requirements that you can live with.
Now, we can prevent accidents around the BPA power lines and save on costly line repairs and outages by maintaining proper distances between the trees and the power lines. But BPA can't do it alone, and neither can you. So we need to work together to ensure proper maintenance and reliable service on the BPA lines.